Hi, sixth graders. This is our last rhythm video of the year. I did take a long time to say goodbye in the other videos, so please take a moment and look at that. Make sure that you take some time to watch it. Okay, we're going to review our counting rules, how to count some measures in with the quarter note equaling one beat, and then we're going to go to 6/8 time and review that, and then we'll be done. So let's start with our counting rules. When we count a measure, we always begin with what number? 1. And what is the next rule? What do you think? We count in numerical order, and we finish with the total number of beats per measure. And as we are counting, we're looking at the value of the rhythm to determine what numbers or symbols we put under it. Okay, so let's look at our first one. 4/4 time. How many beats per measure in 4/4 time? Easy answer, you can say 4 because both numbers are 4, but which number is the beats per measure, the top or the bottom? Hopefully you said the top. So remind yourself, top number beats per measure, and the 4 stands for what? That's a little harder. The type of note that gets one beat. Type of note that gets one beat. So 4 stands for quarter note, and that gets one beat. So everything is built around the quarter note, and the values are based on the quarter note being 1. So the quantities of rhythms will always, the relationships between them will always be the same. A half note will always be larger than a quarter note, but whatever equals 1, that is how you're going to figure out how to count your rhythm. Okay, so let's go to a dotted quarter note first. What is the value of a dotted quarter note? How many beats? Hopefully you said 1.5. Okay, so when we count 1.5 beats, we have to think about it as how we would split it up in smaller increments of equal value. And so 1.5 can be divided into 3 equal halves, or 3 equal parts, which are each a half. So a half a beat, a half a beat, a half a beat. So let's start with 1. And we have only, you might say, it looks like we have 1 full beat done, but we're thinking of half beats right now. So think about this. T, T, T. How would you count T, T, T? You would say 1 and what's the next beat you fall on? 2. Okay, so that's how you count the dotted quarter note. 1 and 2. Now, when we say tom, T, you don't hear us go T. So we put this in parentheses so we can feel 1 and 2 going by. So remember, 2 is only worth a half a beat now. So now we have to go over to the 8th note. The 8th note is the other half of 2. So what's the other half of 2? Well, it would be and, because if 2 is an 8th note and it's a halfway done, then the other half should be an and. Okay, so the other half of 1 here is an and. So that's also the way to think about this 8th note here. Okay, so the 8th note is a half beat. The and stands for a half beat, so we're done counting the 8th note. What's the next number we go with? 3. Okay, we have 1, we have 2, now 3. Okay, if we have 4 sounds over 1 beat, so we can't put a 4 anywhere here. Moreover, we have our ta at the end, so that's going to be our 4. So do you remember what we call all of those 16th notes? Well, if you got rid of the 4 16th notes and made it as a TT, you would have a 3 and then an and here. So 16th notes mean you can put 2 16ths in an 8th note. So we call those separate things. So do you remember? 3 E and A. Okay? All right, we're done with that measure. Now we go on to our syncopa. Syncopa means that we have a half a beat here, a full beat here, and a half a beat here. So whenever we're thinking of half beats, that and sign should be something that is coming up. Remember that the and sign can never be used by itself. It always goes with a number. It's like it's married to it. So it always follows a number. So you always want to make sure that the and is attached to whatever beat you're on if you are talking about half beats. So we are here. So syncopa means the first eighth note is a half a beat. So what number do we start on to count our measure? 1. Okay. But the 1 doesn't stand for one full beat, remember? It's only an eighth note. It's halfway done. So the 1 here stands for only a half a beat. And our next part, the other half of 1, is going to be the and. So we put the and over here on the quarter note. Okay. The and sign stands for what? A half a beat. So is there a half a beat in a quarter note? No, there's a 1 beat in a quarter note. So we have a half a beat. So it's like we're filling up a glass and the glass is halfway full now. We have a half a beat done of our quarter note. So now we need to go on to the next beat. The next beat is 2. All right. And 2 represents a half also. So we're not done with 2. So the other half of 2 is and as well. Okay. So we have the other half of 1, the other half of 2, and now we're done with 2. So now we go to our last 2 beats of the measure, 3 and 4. All right, could you do that by yourself? Maybe next time you watch this video, you could try to do it by yourself. Okay, let's say it as a tom T, and then we'll say it as counting. Ready, go. Tom T, ticka ticka ta, cinco pa 2. Easy? That's going to give you a framework for counting. All right, let's do the counting now. So we're going to say 1, okay? Ready, go. 1 and 3 and a 4. 1 and 3. Let's do that again. Ready, go. 1 and 3 and a 4. 1 and 3. I'm going to just show you each of the eighth notes going by this time. Ready, go. 1 and 3 and a 4. 1 and 3, 4. Okay, that's 3, sorry. All right, let's move on to our 6/8 rhythm. Okay, we would say TTs, tas, toms, tooms. We would say it as our eighth note is now the one that gets the beat, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now let's put the circles under the notes to show the beats going by. You have 2 eighth notes inside a quarter note, and each of these are eighth notes. They each get 1 beat. A tom, remember? 3 eighth notes. So 1, 2, 3 eighth notes to stand for the beat going by. Same thing here. And then toom. A dotted half note is going to equal, it's only used once, or there's nothing else in that measure. So we know that the dotted half note takes up all 6 beats. An eighth note is worth 1, so a quarter note is worth 2. You can put 3 quarter notes in there in the dotted half note. So if you can put 3 quarter notes in a dotted half note, and each quarter note is worth 2. What's 3 times 2? 6. So we can put 6 beats in this measure. Okay, so again, all these circles stand for the beat. All right, let's say the TTs. Ready, set, go. T, 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 ta, T, tom. T, 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 toom. All right, do you see that, how the eighth note goes by? All right, let's do it one more time. Ready, set, go. T, 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 ta, T, tom. T, 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 toom. So putting the numbers should be pretty easy. We have the eighth note equals 1. We know we have to get to 6 beats per measure. Each eighth note is 1 beat. So 1, 2, 3. Quarter note. We have 2 eighth notes in that. So we're going to have 4, 5, And then 1/8 note is our last beat of the measure, 6. Easy, hopefully. All right, Tom is 3 beats long. 3/8 notes are in there, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. And last we have 6 beats in our tune. And putting them all in parentheses except for the 1. Okay. So now we're going to count it instead. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 4, 5, 6. 1. All right, let's do it again. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, that was 1, 4, 5, 6. 1. Last time for me too. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 4, 5, 6. 1. Oh, how'd you do? Okay, if you were a little challenged, don't worry, this was a little hard, but do go over this video a couple more times this week just to review that in your head. Again, you are plenty ready to start sight reading music when you get to secondary, so good job. Have a great summer. I look forward to seeing you very soon.